AI in home design. Well, first of all, before we talk about AI in home design, do you use AI at home? Do you use it for any part of your job production? Do you use it to now replace Google? It's on the rise, it's here to stay, and I have to say it might be corrupting us. Okay, in truth be told, I use it a little bit in my business. If you look at the show notes for my podcast episodes, you know what? I don't need to spend 20 minutes writing it. I'm going to have AI do it for me. There are other tools here and there, but for me, it is a brainstorming use. It's not necessarily a let's replace Danny's ingenuity, let's replace her writing, it is not for any of that other than the show notes. But it can be a useful tool. How are you using it? And are you tempted to use it in home design? Now, here's one thing I want you to think about. And I'm going to give you some pros and some cons for using it when you are thinking about using it to decorate your home. But I am very, very biased. And here is a really quick synopsis of why. We grew up with the phrase, home is where the heart is. But our culture has shifted, and now the message is, home should be Pinterest perfect. I'm calling BS on that message. Home, it's not about the stuff, it's about the story. And whether you know it or not, your home is a reflection of you and is already saying something. So what is it that you want it to say? Hey, I'm Danny, a former first grade teacher turned home decorator. Going from a dual income to a single income so I could stay home with my babies meant budget, like ramen eating, Goodwill shopping budget. And I learned a few things along the way, like how to bring big style to your home without breaking the bank. And I'm sharing it all with you. Tips, tricks, decor, and design advice so you can learn to tell your story with your style. Where you can start living free from the Pinterest perfect trap and start living a life of intention. Welcome to Fig and Farm at Home, where we design happy living and where it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. All right, before we dive into today's episode, which is a good one and very relevant for all of you who are probably wondering about AI in home design, we're going to talk about that. But before we do, I have some very important and really fun news to share. The first, I want to honor and recognize all of you mamas. As we get ready to celebrate Mother's Day, you deserve a pat on the back, and more so, if I'm being quite honest. I know that we are very happy to receive the sweet little dandelion picked bouquets. We are happy to have breakfast cooked and served to us in bed, even though we might not want the crumbs in there. Shh, don't tell anyone. I know that a lot of times it is the gesture, the kind gesture, the thought that counts, especially when it comes from gifts from our kids. But what I want to say to you, Mom, is it is okay to gift yourself. Gifting yourself a home that you absolutely love to come home to, a home that is the backdrop to all of these beautiful scenes with your kiddos, a home that is the welcome space for welcoming home your college-age kiddos or the friend group who seems to always gather at your home, and you are happy for that, to open up your fridge and feed them the snacks. You are happy for that. But creating a home space that you delight in isn't frivolous. Because it is the landscape to everything you do, the things that you hold most dear, you should love it. And it is easier than you think. And it can be less expensive than you think. Now, here is how I differ from all fancy pants designers. Well, first of all, I'm not that. Secondly, I see the potential in absolutely every room. And the things that you love, the things that you've inherited, the things that you even don't love, those are considered first. Because I know that it is not always a realistic budget to be able to say, I can go out and buy everything brand new. It's not. I get it. I'm still living that. So having a designer in your corner who says, let's use what we have and make it awesome is what I'm all about. And hey, you shop at Target? Great. How about IKEA too? Let's throw that in the docket. Let's throw that in the errand. Oh, thrifted goods? Fantastic. Friend, I am not wanting you to spend more money, and I don't get commission, honestly, when I recommend a product. The goal here is for you to create a space you absolutely delight in all the time. Now, of course, we're going to have piles here and there that land on the stairs, even though we go up and down the stairs multiple times a day and we still don't take those things. Hey, listen, that is real life. But the thing here is it's the bigger picture. If you walk into a space and you think, I can't stand it, or it is just, or it's too embarrassing, let's fix that. Gift yourself the chance to fix that. Book a decorating SOS call. It is easy. I'm approachable. I do not bite. And I love to use what it is that you already own. You can do that by going to figandfarmathome.com/decorating-SOS. And mama, tell a friend, because chances are your best bud, your sister-in-law, even your own mom are probably thinking the same thing, that they wish they would have started a long ago. All right, go ahead and go to figandfarmathome.com/decorating-SOS to book your call. Okay, now before we dive in, I have one more exciting thing to share with you. Pretty soon, in fact, we're doing a countdown, in about a month, we are reaching the 5th year anniversary here at Fig and Farm at Home. Now, here's a little silly thing about me. Years ago, I used to be a runner, and I say years ago because my knees hurt, so I don't run very much anymore. But years ago, I used to run and marathons and half marathons and all the things, and it was fun. But I got into the habit of not being able to end my runs on an uneven number. If my goal was to run about 6 miles or so, and I was ending on 5.82, nope. I had to run circles around the block or the mailbox or the car down the street until I got to 6 miles. And then I would stop. I know, weird. But it worked and I did it, and I'm doing the same as we approach our 5th year anniversary because I am so close to the 400th episode. So, in honor of 5th year and reaching the 400th episode of Fig and Farm at Home, we are going back to 2 a week. Starting next week, next Tuesday, you're going to get a 5-minute fix. Now, here's the thing. These 5-minute fixes, I've already started recording. They are already so much fun, and they are exactly that. They are quick. But I want to know if you like those. So be on the lookout, be on the listen, and if you like them, we're going to continue going on with them. But I have to hear back from you in order to do that. But on June 15th, and that whole week, we are having a week-long celebration. It is going to be full of giveaways, surprises, and really fun ways to work together. Now, here's the thing. We will celebrate a little bit on the podcast, but all of this is going to be going down if you are a design bestie. And what that means is it's happening in our email. So if you are not yet a design bestie, I want you to be. Come on over to bit.ly/design bestie to sign up so that you don't miss all of the fun shenanigans that are going to be happening the week of June 15th. All right, let's get back on track and start talking about AI in home design. AI in home design. Well, first of all, before we talk about AI in home design, do you use AI at home? Do you use it for any part of your job production? Do you use it to now replace Google? It's on the rise, it's here to stay, and I have to say it might be corrupting us. Okay, in truth be told, I use it a little bit in my business. If you look at the show notes for my podcast episodes, you know what? I don't need to spend 20 minutes writing it. I'm going to have AI do it for me. There are other tools here and there, but for me, it is a brainstorming use. It's not necessarily a let's replace Danny's ingenuity, let's replace her writing, it is not for any of that other than the show notes. But it can be a useful tool. How are you using it, and are you tempted to use it in home design? Now, here's one thing I want you to think about, and I'm going to give you some pros and some cons for using it when you are thinking about using it to decorate your home. But I am very, very biased, and here is a really quick synopsis of why. Years ago, when I was working selling some of the curated goods I had, and I would sell them at shows, and I would travel around, and I would, make things and redo things and reupholster items and paint furniture, and I would sell it at different shows, and it was so much fun. Guaranteed, every time I was selling one of these at one of these shows, I would hear this comment: "Oh, I could do that." Great, I'm sure you could. But chances are you didn't, or the person who said it didn't. chances are they were tapping into that creative thing, recognizing the neatness of it, the coolness of it. I can't even think of a better verb. The design of it, and thinking, I can do that. But then what would happen? They would go about their merry way. They would be distracted by other things. They would fill their schedule with all kinds of things. They would forget about it and they wouldn't do it. And even if they did remember it, they wouldn't do it. Sometimes the material cost would keep them from doing it in a cost-effective way. But without a doubt, that comment would come up multiple times. When I worked in my shop every once in a while, I would hear the same thing. And it would be a very sly, very subtle comment because the person who was saying it would know that I was in earshot and they wouldn't want me to hear it. Interesting. I can do that. And they probably could. There's no doubt they probably could. AI is very much like that. Friend, you can create a space that you delight in. You really can. It is within your capability. It is within your skill set, even if you think that you don't have it yet. But the thing that happens with AI is that you generate the idea, you get the idea, but then you still have to execute. And the execution is where the disconnect happens. Same thing from all those years ago when I was working in those shows and someone would recognize, very cool idea, I can do that, and the execution falls apart. The place of execution is where it falls apart. That is what happens with AI. But there's more. So let's dive into 3 pros for using AI, 3 reasons why you might want to, and 3 reasons why I just don't think it's a good idea. All right, there are some reasons why you might want to use AI in home design, and here are 3. Now, quick little caveat and side note, each one of these is a double-edged sword, and it will also come with a reason why this is not a great idea, or the end-all be-all, I should say. But as a whole, using AI to generate ideas, to brainstorm a little bit, is a great idea. Okay, the first reason why you might want to is to help you visualize the possibilities. Now, we already have been using AI in home design for years. If you think about paint stores and they're, hey, try this out in your home, see what this looks like in your home, or places like Pottery Barn or Crate and Barrel where they say, oh, visualize this couch in your space. That is AI. So visualizing it is really fantastic. It can help you see the possibility where you might not be able to see the possibility. Now, let me just throw in there, you still have to wade through hundreds, if not thousands of decisions in order to find the thing, like the couch, we'll say, or the color that you might want to be trying out. You still have to wade through those possibilities, and that is not always helpful with AI. It can give you those, brainstorm the list of ideas, but it might not necessarily know the nuance of your space in order to know if that couch, for example, is the right fit, or that color is the right fit for the wood tones that you have in your home, for example. But once you know that you are narrowed down to a couple different possibilities and you're saying, oh, I like this couch and this couch, it could really give you a great idea of the potential. So I like it for that. The second reason that you might want to use AI is because it's affordable guidance. And now the free versions are probably not going to be as in-depth. They're going to be really great for brainstorming ideas, probably not as great for giving you the visual ideas because there are limitations with the free version. So you do have to upgrade. And if it were the cost between upgrading for AI for home design only or hiring someone, I would go with the hiring someone any day. And the reason I would do that is because there's the ability for that person to be in your space. And it doesn't mean that they have to literally physically be in your space. Seeing it is going to be very, very helpful. And then the back and forth, of course, of asking you the questions to help you determine the best fit. But if you are able to, or you already have the paid version of AI for maybe your work or something else that you do as a hobby, then sure, it's going to be an affordable option. The third reason why you might want to use AI in home design is because it can help you a little bit with decision overwhelm. So for example, if you're looking for a color palette and you say, okay, I know I kind of want some blues and some taupes, and I want it to be kind of a beachy feel, light and airy, you might be able to say, hey, can you give me a couple different ideas for color palettes to use in this space? Inserting even ideas of, I have medium wood-toned floors, for example. It might be able to generate some good ideas for you to now then confirm either on your own with maybe the paint store expert or a designer to say, yep, this is actually a great choice. Yes, go ahead and do that. Double thumbs up. Maybe your decision overwhelm lands in the idea of layouts, and you want to be able to, again, see it or kind of think about priorities for your home and for your room. It might be able to give you some suggestions for how to make a room more conversational or flow better with the furniture you have. It might even be able to give you some combo ideas for the spaces that you're trying to work with. You might even be able to use it for generating the purpose of your room and the things that you should be looking at. So kind of another brainstorming idea, hey, if I have this extra room that is traditionally used as a formal living room and I don't need a formal living room, what are some creative ways I can utilize this space for a growing family of 4 kids? And that could be a really fun way to help you just generate that idea. On the flip side, now, I've already even said some of the ways that even with, the benefits of AI, and I'm sure there are more. These are the ones that I can really attest to. But even with the ones that I shared, there are some cons. There are some downsides to it. But here are some others that I really want you to consider when you're thinking about saying, very similarly to those people who would say, in my shop or at a show, I can do that. AI can do that. Here's why I think that realistically speaking, AI is not the most ideal choice for designing your home space when you are constantly in a state of decision fatigue, overwhelm, you don't know where to start, you're working with a really restricted budget, and you want to use a lot of the things that you already own. So here are some of the reasons. Number one is that AI can make really beautiful pictures, but so can Pinterest, right? So can Instagram. Those are really beautiful pictures. They're really lovely pictures and images that we can aspire to, but they're not realistic. They're not. And you heard me say I included Pinterest and Instagram into that as well. They don't necessarily take your lifestyle, your pets, your personality, your budget, the things that you already own into account. And so although it might generate a really lovely picture, you don't necessarily have a game plan of what to do first or second or third. AI can probably help you with that. But again, when it doesn't know the nuances of your home and the nuances of your lifestyle, the nuances of your budget, that thing that you forgot that you owned, even the teeny tiny little details, it doesn't necessarily take that into account. So in my mind, it's better to work with someone who's going to be asking you those questions. The second reason I'm not a fan of using AI in home design is because it really can disconnect you from your own instincts. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes as you are getting started and you are already really overwhelmed, that might be a good idea to use AI. It helps you get the ball rolling. But as you are learning new skills, as you are applying those skills, as you are starting to have your eyes open to the changes you are making, when you bring AI into that, it now distracts from your instincts. And I want to tell you a story. In fact, this happened just last night. I was working with a client and we were on a decorating SOS call. And the goal of the call was to specifically style her bookshelves. She has an L-shaped bookshelf. It's so cute. And we have been curating product here and there, starting, of course, with the things that she already owns. And then she hired me to pick product for her. Now, side note, she lives in Australia, and I live in the US, and I can still pick product even though I don't live in her same country, because she gave me some of the home stores, or the stores that she likes to shop at. So I just used their site. So if you are thinking, and you're listening across the world thinking, oh, I can't hire Danny because we're not in the same region. No, we can. We can still work together. Now, if I don't speak your language, I might have a harder time with that. But distance is not a distraction. Distance is not a barrier. Anyway, back to the point. She had been gathering these things over time. She had to do it slowly in order to align with her budget. And yesterday was the day. We got to put our time together and our efforts together. And from the computer screen, I was helping her manipulate the items to put on her bookshelf. Both functional and beautiful, right? And as we were working on this, of course, she has been learning this whole process. She's been learning about design. We've been working on rooms in her space. This is just one corner of her room. And she's now applying all of these things she's learning. But she used her own instincts as we were working on the shelf. Now, she would say, I wouldn't have been able to do this without you, but I would counter that by saying, actually, I think you would probably be ready. I think you would probably have a better go at it, even if I weren't there, because of the learning she has done up to this point. But as we were on the call and we were putting some things on the shelf, I said, how do you think that looks? Tell me what you see. Tell me there's a rule that's broken here. Tell me what it is. AI is not going to do that for you. And she was able to pinpoint the exact thing that I was guiding her to. Now, this is a teachable moment. Yes, I can do it for you, but she is in the posture of learning. And so I gave her that opportunity. What was in the way? What was the thing why won't that work here? And she was able to see it. Oh, it's too heavy. Oh, it's too in alignment. Oh, it's on the same shelf, the same level. We want to make a little bit more of a triangle. And when you use AI and you focus only on AI to do the thinking for you, it takes away, of course, your own learning, your own skill set, and your own instincts. And we don't want that for you, because decorating, yes, we want to get there. We want to get to the place of, I love my home. I delight in my home. I'm proud of my home. I want to be here. But it is not a set it and forget it thing. And if it is, that's called living in a museum, and that's not the goal. We want to live in spaces where we are nurturing our families, we're bringing in our friends, we're living life. And when we set it and forget it, which is kind of the approach of AI, we don't know how to then bring in, which is the next one. Well, I take it back. It's not the next one. We don't know how to buy new things. We don't know how to decide what to keep and what to give away. We don't really know what our own style is. So that's a big one. That's a big one. It disconnects you from your own instincts. Okay, and the third reason that really I just don't think AI is it. AI is helping you keep up with the Joneses. So you know how there are times on the show I say, friend, if you want a home that looks different from your neighbors down the street, we want to infuse your home with your style and your personality. AI is not doing that. AI does not know your personality or your style. And AI is pulling from all these resources that are trending currently on the internet. They're not pulling from things that are not, unique to you, that have your personality. It's void of personality. It might be beautiful, but it's void of personality. So AI is great. If you want to keep up with the Joneses and buy what's on trend, you know what? Use it. That might be a great tool for you. But if you want to infuse your home with your style and your personality, I just don't think AI is the place. So what is the place, and how do you keep it affordable? You, of course, can go to YouTube University, right? Any little shows and things on YouTube, you can spend hours and hours and hours learning and seeing what they suggest. Same thing with podcasts or even some really fun decorating books, all the places. You can get resources like that can generate ideas. You can, of course, use AI to generate ideas, but the application is the piece that's missing. Even if you went to all of those places, podcasts, books, AI, YouTube, and you then just gathered more inspiration, gathered more ideas, it's the next thing that needs to happen. It's the thing that I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the thing where people would come into the shop or at these shows and say, that's cool, I can do that. Okay, but are you? And have you? And how do you? So friend, if you want accountability, if you're ready and you say, I want to create a space that does feel like it is personality infused. When people come over, they say, oh my gosh, this looks so much like you. Gosh, that's the ultimate compliment. If you want a space that looks like that, one that you delight in, one that feels like it is a warm hug at the end of a long day, and you want the accountability and the guidance to help you know what to do first, what to do second, and someone to check in on you and say, hey, are you doing those things that we talked about? I want you to book a Decorating SOS call. You can do that by going to figandfarmathome.com/decorating-SOS. And mama, if you are celebrating Mother's Day and you have not yet gifted yourself, this is a great one. All right, friend. And again, join me on our countdown to 400, our 5th year anniversary, as we now next week boost up to 2 podcasts a week. I hope you enjoy it. One is really short, one is still the same. And either way, I hope that you come and share all about it, the ways that this show is impacting your life in good ways. Tell me about it, because it delights me, and each review allows women just like you to feel empowered and to know that they're in the right place where they will be supported. All right, friend, until next week, until next Tuesday, when you have a 5-minute fix dropping into your earbuds, I will see you soon. Hey, real quick before you go, if you learned something new or found value in today's podcast, would you head over to iTunes to Fig and Farm at Home and leave a review and subscribe to the show? That would be awesome. And if you'd like to connect with my community of mamas who are learning to be intentional storytellers within their own homes, join us at bit.ly/design101 group. There's always more room at the table. See you soon.